Okay, so very welcome back. And we continue our discussion about the atoms in semiconductor. So in the previous model, we saw the basic structure and the atomic models of semiconductors. And now this time we will focus upon more on the atomic models. So what you see here, we have a single silicon atom as shown. At the very center or at the very core of this atom, you have a nucleus, and inside the nucleus, you have protons and neutrons. And protons have the positive charges. That's why we have shown a plus sign here. Neutrons do not carry any charge. Now, surrounding this nucleus, you have shells. Shell number one, shell number two, and shell number three. They are also called as orbits. And each of these orbits consist of another kinds of charge carriers. They are called as electrons, and they carry negative charges with them. So in shell number one, there are particular number of electrons. In shell number two, there are fixed number of electrons, and in shell number three, there are again fixed number of electrons. So atomic number of a silicon atom is 1,4, that is 14. That's why in other words, we understand the total number of electrons in all of the orbits or shells of the silicon items are 14. That's why we give a number, say that silicon atom has atomic number of 14. The most important point that we need to remember is in the outermost shell or in the outermost orbit of this silicon atom, we have four electrons. They are called as valence electrons. And this is the most important point that we'll keep it in mind. We call them valence electrons because they when they are set free, when they are liberated, because they will acquire sufficient energy due to some natural causes, and they are tightly bound to their parent atoms. We will see how in the moment. And once they break that bonding, they will get liberated and they will called as free electrons. Eventually, they take part into the conduction. So how we go ahead and talk more about how the bonding happens and how they make themselves free and how the valence electrons become free electrons. So you see, I have another atom structure just adjoining or in the neighborhood of this atom. And at the outermost shell of this atom, we have one electron. At the outermost shell of this atom, we have another electrons, and they are close to each other. So we will see how they share. Each atom is sharing one of its electron with the another atom's electron. Another atom right over here, another atom right over here. So there are millions of such atoms inside a single crystal piece of a silicon. And now you can see in the outermost orbit, we can say that this pairing is called as electron pairing or electron sharing. And in other words, we also calling as covalent bond, and each of these atoms are tightly bound to its parent atom. So this electron is tightly bound to this atom. This electron is tightly bound to this atom. You have another electron sharing or electron pair. You have another electron sharing or electron pair. You have another sharing and electron pair. How about other remaining electrons which are present in the outermost orbit? So we can also see that if there is another atom in the neighborhood, its outermost electron will be pairing with this electron. Similarly, you can have the pairing right over here if there is, we show in the diagram another atom. Then you have this one, you have this one, you have this one, this one, this one, and this one. So this concept, overall concept, is called as covalent bonding. Okay. And as I said before, the each atom actually is electrons. Each electrons are tightly bonded to the parent atoms, and after they acquire sufficient energy, these valence electrons can break this covalent bonding and leave the orbit, and therefore they will be called as free electrons, and they take part into the conduction process inside the semiconductor material. Okay. So, uh, so I hope so far this point is clear. As I also said, these how these electrons will acquire the energy. Let's say the photons are striking the atoms. So photons these electrons will then acquire a kinetic energy. And in another natural cause would be applied electric field or electric potential difference to the atom of the silicon and then set the electron free because they will break the covalent bonding. So now the question is, let's say you have a piece of a silicon, and we will talk about free charge carriers. It means free electrons. When they break this covalent bond, we will see what are their numbers in a piece of silicon material. So let's say you have this volume of a silicon material. This is centimeter cube. Okay, so 1 centimeter height, 1 centimeter width, and 1 centimeter length. So you have 1 centimeter cubic centimeter piece of a volume of a silicon material, and at room temperature, that is at the 25 degrees centigrade, we want to understand how many free charge carriers are available in the piece of this silicon material. It means those free charge carriers, that means electrons, they have broke the covalent bonding due after acquiring sufficient kinetic energy from their parent atom. They break the covalent bond and they are available as a free charge carriers inside the materials so that they can further take part into conduction. So at room temperature, there are about 1.5 into 10 to the power 10 free charge carriers per centimeter cube in the intrinsic form of the silicon. Intrinsic means pure form of a silicon. This is a very single crystal silicon piece of material. Okay, so let's say you have a germanium, that is another piece of material, and per centimeter cube in the intrinsic germanium at room temperature, you have about 2.5 into 10 to the power 13 free charge carriers. So you can see that the ratio of germanium to silicon in terms of free charge carriers is 3 orders higher. So you have 3 orders higher free charge electrons or free charge carriers available in germanium at the room temperature. However, the point to be noted here is that although at the room temperature, there are sufficient charge carriers in the intrinsic form of both the germanium and the silicon, both of these semiconductors are called as poor conductors when they are in its intrinsic form, when they are in their intrinsic form. So the idea is make the rise in the temperature. So rise in the temperature can increase the free charge carriers in both of these semiconductors substantially. So we see that an increasing temperature can cause a substantial rise in free charge carriers. That means electrons in the semiconductor material. Okay, so one idea is to make these semiconductors uh, be conductors is to substantially keep increasing the temperature above the room temperature so that more and more free charge carriers will be developed. Another idea is that applied electric potential, whatever. So because of these characteristics, you make the rise into temperature and therefore the conductivity increases. In other words, the resistivity of these materials decreases because of the temperature rise. Both germanium and silicon are said to have negative temperature coefficient of resistance. okay, and DC. On the other hand, we know that already if it is a pure conductor, rise in temperature can decrease the number of cannot increase the number of free charge carriers in conductors substantially. They are limited number of charge carriers increase with the rise in temperature. However, eventually these electrons vibrate inside these conductor materials and they do not find sufficient space to move. So therefore, the conductivity of the conductor decreases, or in other words, resistivity of the conductor increases when the temperature goes up. So that's why we can say the conductors have positive temperature coefficient. So the semiconductor and the conductors both have this opposite behavior. So hope you found this module useful, understanding the concept of covalent bonding, understanding the concept of valence electrons and when how they acquire the energy, whether it's from the light, whether it's from the temperature, whether it's from the applied electric potential to the atom across the atom, and when they how they become free, and when they become free how they take part in the conduction. And then we understood the concept of temperature, the relationship between the temperature and the number of free charge carriers in the intrinsic form of the semiconductor materials. So if you found this model useful, share it with others, and stay tuned for more engaging and informative content like this. Till then, wish you very happy learning.